It's funny that this article came out today. It's the same day that this came out. Nikola is the worst company of the year according to Yahoo Finance's audience. Hey, welcome back. And today I want to talk about this ridiculous article about why certain investors should buy Nikola stock now. Now, this analyst actually has a pretty good track record, but in this article, he makes some ridiculous points, and I don't understand why they're being so irresponsible pushing this company that is a terrible, terrible company. And we'll see how he actually does some weird ninjutsu where he supports the stock, but he also adds a lot of qualifiers because he knows that this is not a good company. He'll just refer to the stock. It's very, very interesting. Let's go over it point by point and I'll give you my thoughts. After General Motors scaled down its partnership with Nikola due to the controversy that hurt the latter automaker, Nikola has lost a bit of its credibility. A bit is an understatement. Nonetheless, the longer-term outlook of Nikola stock is positive at this point. I guess if you have hit rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go but up, but I don't know if that's good investment advice. There are multiple reasons behind my bullishness on the shares. First, as I've pointed out in prior columns, the outlook of the company's core market remains positive. Meanwhile, Nikola continues to have very strong partnerships, and there have been no indications that its completed vehicles are problematic in any way. So the problem I have with that is just because the core market remains positive, how does that have anything to do with Nikola, the company itself? The EV market overall is extremely positive. That doesn't mean that you should invest in GM or Ford or Toyota over Tesla, though. You have to find the individual companies that are going to be industry leaders and are going to be successful in that market. Nikola doesn't seem to be the one. If you look at Nikola's track record of delayed timelines of fake trucks, how could you possibly believe that this is the company that will succeed? Further, Nikola stock has gotten much cheaper in the past several months. This is true. The question is, why did it get so cheap? Not only did GM pull out of their partnership, replacing it with a supply deal, Bosch, one of their biggest partners, also sold their stakes from over 6% ownership to just under 5%. They are trying to stay away while not tanking the whole company because they still have so many shares. A positive core market and strong partnerships. Nikola's core market is trucks powered by hydrogen fuel cells, with many, if not most, companies in the West looking to become more green and the limits of battery electric trucks. Nikola's core market is poised to grow rapidly. This part is technically true. With hydrogen trucks, you are able to go farther distances and you could also refuel faster. So with large trucks, this could make sense because also batteries are very, very heavy. So the farther you need to go, generally speaking, the heavier the battery needs to be. The issue is that Tesla is actually innovating very, very fast on this front. And once they release their 600-mile battery for the trucks, then the advantage of hydrogen fuel cells actually drops significantly because a trucker can only drive for a certain amount of time. And after that, they are legally obligated to take a rest. So if your truck can go 600 miles, a full days of driving before the driver needs to go to sleep, and then all it needs to do is recharge overnight, then the range and refueling advantage that hydrogen fuel cells have no longer exists. Now, there still are many use cases for it, but it's not as simple as this article implies by just saying the limits of battery electric trucks. As I noted in my previous column on Nikola stock, the street appears to have gotten much more upbeat on hydrogen in recent months, making me more bullish on the sector in general and the company's shares in general. I can understand being bullish on the sector in general. I cannot understand being more bullish on the company's shares in particular. But I also want to note that this guy is actually pretty smart. I looked him up. His ranking is actually very, very good with an average return of plus 11%. I get the feeling that he's the type of investor that doesn't really look at the company as a whole, but he is more obsessed about the shares because he never says Nikola without saying it's shares. So if you think the shares will go up, that I think you have a stronger case than is this a good company to invest in. If you are just trying to make money swing trading, short-term trading, there definitely is still a lot of hype around this company and around this technology. So if you buy at these lows, I think you could definitely make money in the short term. But in the long term, again, why would you invest in this company when there's so many other options and they've all had cars that they didn't have to lie about being able to move up a hill? Meanwhile, in my June 10 column on Nikola, I reported that Nikola had established partnerships with multiple large reputable companies in the trucking sector, including parts maker Wabco, which was recently acquired by giant German auto parts maker ZF, prominent truck leasing company Ryder, and Bosch, another large vehicle parts maker. So I already spoke about Bosch. With the other two companies, yes, they are great partnerships, partnerships, but then it always comes down to my original question: what is Nikola there for? Are they just the glue that holds these other companies together? Because just a company that is glue is not worth $5-10 billion, maybe $100 million at most. They are not even that good of an integrating company, as evidenced by these partnerships getting diminished, dropping out like flies, and they were the main ones. And although General Motors abandoned its plan to buy Nikola stock and manufacture its Badger pickup, which Nikola consequently abandoned, GM has still agreed to supply its fuel cells to Nikola. The way this sentence is phrased is that, oh, this was a little bit bad, but look at this positive thing. They're still agreeing to supply its fuel cells to Nikola. It's not supplying like they're giving it to them. Nikola has to buy them from GM. Why would anyone not let a company pay you money for your product? That's kind of why your business exists. It's to sell your product. So number one, Nikola doesn't make its own fuel cells. As a hydrogen tech company, they don't have their tech available to put in their own companies. And number two, Nikola needs to constantly pay GM to get their batteries and fuel cells. This is only going to make Nikola's product more expensive. If they had been able to manufacture their own, then maybe we'd have something here. These partnerships are important not only because they will improve the quality of Nikola's vehicles and increase potential buyers' confidence in them, but because the deals suggest that Nikola's partners have a degree of faith in the automaker. I disagree with this part. If I'm selling you stuff, I don't need to have confidence in you. I just need to have confidence that you'll pay me my money because this is my business. What you do with my product after I give it to you, I guess you could make me look really bad if you do something really dumb with the product, but at the end of the day, GM is a business, so of course they want to make money. After all, even though the company's partners are likely making money from the deals, okay, at least he points that out, they still have to spend time and funds on developing the alliances. As a result, I'm sure that they would rather partner with a hydrogen truck maker that looks poised to thrive and grow than one that will go out of business relatively quickly. Maybe, but if they go out of business, I don't think people will perceive that as GM's fault. Just because they're selling them something, it's like they're helping them, and they go out of business, I don't see how GM would be at fault. And the way this is framed, it gives Nikola way more credit than it deserves. Therefore, I believe that these companies' decision to partner with Nikola is a favorable sign for Nikola stock. Sure, yes, favorable sign for Nikola stock. There he goes again, very specific, very smart, never saying Nikola Motors as a company, just referring to its stock. No indications of problems with its products. Nikola famously got in trouble for making a demonstration vehicle look like it was running on its own power when it wasn't, and short seller Hindenburg accused the company of lying about other matters. But when it comes to vehicles that it's made for customers' use, there have been, as far as I can determine, no signs or allegations of serious problems. He adds this "as far as I can determine" because, to be fair, I honestly also don't know. There are so little vehicles available to actually see that work that we don't know. If we could see more vehicles at a larger scale, then maybe I could say, okay, their vehicles work. But yes, based on the prototypes that they've let us see, they seem to run. That is such a low bar to pass. Back to the article. So yes, Nikola lied at least once, but as I pointed out previously, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has told at least one major fib, and no one can complain about the performance of Tesla stock. This is the biggest whataboutism I've ever heard. You can't say, okay, this company has done something bad, but that other company also has done something bad and they're doing well. This is just not a strong argument. But importantly, nobody to my knowledge has identified serious issues with Nikola's vehicles that are supposed to be used by its customers. There we go again, qualifying every statement he makes. Nobody to my knowledge. So this guy has full plausible deniability baked into this article. I don't know why he's trying to pump up Nikola stock. Maybe he genuinely believes that this is a good stock play, but he definitely knows that there could be a host of issues, and he wants to remind us at every turn that, based on what I know, to my knowledge, as far as I can determine, do you see all these qualifiers? Valuation and the bottom line of Nikola stock. After the shares slides over the last few months and in the wake of their December 3rd lockup expiration, they have a market capitalization of about $7 billion. Given all of Nikola's positive catalysts, that's actually a pretty good deal. Take a look, for example, at Fisker, which has many fewer positive catalysts and much more competition, yet has a market capitalization of $4.67 billion. As a result, I recommend that longer-term, risk-tolerant investors buy the shares at this point. Yeah, no, I'm going to pass. Sure, everything in theory, their goal, their vision, the market, it's a very, very promising market. and there's a lot of potential in this market, but potential does not make $7 billion. And from what we've seen in Nikola's past, all they have is ideas and potential, with nothing truly realized other than a couple of prototypes that are running up and down the street. This company should have a $1 billion evaluation at max. The EV market is very, very overhyped right now. Everyone is investing based on potential. And I personally think the only company that has earned the right to be invested on potential is Tesla, which is actually on track this year to deliver 500,000 working cars that all can move uphill of their own power, and they can move downhill of their own power, which is a pretty sweet deal. That's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Green Knight Trading, where Squires become knights. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.